We are visiting Doha, the capital of Qatar. Here we are driving right through the desert on our way to meet one of the most influential families of the richest country in the world. For a whole year, we tried to set up an interview with the inhabitant. Today, we finally get exclusive access to his home. This weekend residence has the size of 3 football fields and can't be found on any map.
How are you doing? Wow. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Camel.
Inside the estate, a huge collection of cars and motorbikes. The 80 hand-picked vehicles have an estimated worth of over $100 million. And the owner, Omar Al-Fadl. He is an absolute Ferrari fan.
I have one page called the supercar. Yeah. And starting from the GTO, which is over there, for F40, F50, Enzo, and LaFerrari, which are the supercar of Ferrari.
And you own them all?
And I have them there as a collection. I bought them.
Omar Al-Fadl deals in luxury items like cars and watches, and is also a hotelier. He is the owner of probably the most impressive Ferrari collection in the world, including a speedboat. Sports cars with lots of horsepower are his personal hobby. 20 full-time staff take care of the multi-millionaire's car collection. Interior designers, mechanics, waiters, cleaning staff, and of course, security personnel. Everything has to be up to scratch for when the owner comes by for a spontaneous visit. Omar Al-Fadl had this super-modern hangar especially built for his collection. To protect his valuable car collection, he doesn't only have security personnel, but he also has cameras and laser barriers installed. The Al-Fadls are one of the few families which have been granted exclusive trading rights by the Emir of Qatar. This means that in Qatar, some luxury items may only be sold and imported by them.
We represent many brands, of over 60 brands of European watches in Qatar and the region, in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. Now today we represent 7 brands in the automotive industry, which is the BMW Group, BMW Mini and Rolls-Royce, Jaguar Land Rover and Range Rover, and Ferrari and Maserati.
Omar doesn't want to show us his private home, which is just around the corner, but he is happy to show us his private zoo. On an area the size of 2 football fields, over 2,000 animals and over 100 different species are at home. The choice of animals represents the owner's personal taste. 7 different kinds of the heraldic animal of Qatar, the antelope, can be found here. We move on. About 40 kilometers outside the capital Doha, camel races take place every week. The first start is at 6 a.m. today. Camel racing is traditionally a favorite sport of the Qatari upper class, because getting up this early can be worth it.
The owner of the Camel, he took one of the cars. Sometimes they have Bentley or Lamborghini.
First prizes worth 6-figure sums. Here, drivable prizes altogether worth more than $30 million are parked. The camels used to be ridden by children in order to save weight, but this has been banned by the Emir, and featherlight remote control riding robots have taken over this job.
There's a lot of people in the cars outside, and they have a talkie-walkie, and when they press the button, the robots start to hit the camel to go faster.
The trainers are also sat in the cars and speak to the camels in order to calm them. The race is broadcast live on television.
توفيق شوط الختام الخاص بالحول هنا أيضا إمارات أما المركز الثالث فكانت لغزيلة سمو الشيخ خالد بن سلطان بن زايد آل نهيان.
By the way, it isn't possible to bet on camel races. That would be gambling, which is highly illegal under the laws of Islam. Close by is the Khalifa Stadium, one of the biggest and most important arenas for the upcoming Football World Cup. The bad working conditions on these building sites are often heavily criticized, so we want to see for ourselves at the scene and have fought for a shooting permit for a long time. Unfortunately, interviews are not allowed. The organizers show us the entire construction site. We're allowed to film wherever we like. Safety issues are not to be found here today. More than 2,000 workers are on duty every day at this stadium construction site. Lunch is served in 2 sittings. Off camera, one of the organizers proudly tells us that here it is possible to feed 1,500 people in just 20 minutes. It is eerily silent, no conversations, no small talk. Most of the workforce come from India, Pakistan or Nepal. In Qatar, they make about $400 per month, much more than at home. Most of their pay is sent home, and it seems as if the workers have gotten used to these circumstances. A 1-hour break, and many have had to queue for lunch for 15 minutes. Then it is back to work, because time is of the essence. For now, Qatar mainly consists of the capital, Doha. The rest of the country is predominantly desert. Around the World Cup stadiums, new high-rises are being developed, and an underground subway system will connect the sports venues and central locations. Around $200 billion are being invested in infrastructure up until the World Cup. 800,000 foreign construction workers work in Qatar. In the mornings, they are driven to the building sites, and in the evenings taken back to their collective accommodation. We've asked the organizers to show us the accommodation. In an SUV, this government employee picks us up. Time and again, there are reports of the desolate conditions in these accommodations, and Amnesty International has also published a very critical report. We are obviously being shown the brand new state-of-the-art facilities. First, we are shown an image video. Then, the whole delegation of clearly high-ranking employees visits the apartments with us. This meeting takes place in the early afternoon, and almost all the workers are still at the building sites.
This is a typical room for 4 people. Basically, bed, and they hang their coats, and also they've got a key to every unit that they've got a key.
100,000 employees live in this complex, which consists of hundreds of identical buildings. Here, breakfast and dinner are served. Everything is very clean, almost sterile. We meet one of the inhabitants, but can hardly communicate with him as he speaks almost no English.
Oh, that's the people who live here.
You live here, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
You like it here?
Yeah, good.
It's good?
Yes.
Enough space for you?
Yeah,
With your friends living here?
yeah. This one good.
You happy?
Yeah, good.
After many negative reports about old, dirty and overcrowded housing, the organizers seem to want to show us through this sterile block of flats that they take criticism seriously. This complex definitely meets international requirements, but if all the construction workers in Qatar have this standard of living, or if this is just the insight that is given to our camera team, is still the question. Khaled Abdel Fattah was born in Iraq and has lived all over the world. For a while now, he's been working in Doha as a real estate agent, and his speciality is luxury property. Today, his client is looking for a penthouse apartment with at least 500 square meters of living space.
هلا محمد، كيف الحال؟ كيف الصحة؟ خلي السيارة هنا، كيف الحال؟ كيف الصحة؟ عساك طيب، شو أخبارك؟ كيف أنت؟ الله يخليك يا رب، كيف الصحة؟ تفضل معنا. بس راح ندخل جوا.
This complex has over 60,000 units and has almost been completed. The Pearl, as it's called, is a completely artificial island. A flat is between $500,000 and $5 million. A spa area, a fitness center and a huge swimming pool are of course part of the amenities.
So Mohammed, welcome home.
The Qatari is 28 years old and his family make their money in the construction industry and on the stock market. Their total fortune over $100 million. The family already owns multiple real estate properties.
The most important thing, your romantic view for you and your family.
The balcony alone has a size of 100 square meters. The client takes pictures, which is a good sign for the estate agent. Hopefully there is some interest. On the third terrace, the sales agent gets down to business.
We have the best price in town. Therefore, the price for this apartment is 10.3 million Qatari riyals. I promise you this is something that you are buying as a good investment for you and your family for the future. This property will never lose its price. You're buying an investment. Should we go to the next penthouse?
Yeah, sure.
This way, please.
Is the wealthy Qatari really interested? In the summer months, temperatures can reach up to 50 degrees. Because of this, Qatar's capital Doha only comes to life after sundown. At the weekends, the locals leave the city. We have to drive far into the desert where the dunes are up to 70 meters high. With expensive SUVs, the wealthy offspring speed through the desert. Some like to show off their skills, others prefer to watch. There are no women present. This hobby is another total male domain.
It's like it's kind of tradition back in Qatar.
We are just watching the new drivers when they are getting stuck here.
It's difficult to drive, so it needs really professional drivers to come and drive through here.
Just one moment of carelessness and the car topples and plummets down the sand mountain. Back to the artificial paradise island, the Pearl. Estate agent Khaled Abdel Fattah shows his affluent client the next luxury flat. This penthouse also spans over 2 floors and dazzles with its gigantically large rooms and high ceilings. A special highlight, the bathroom.
Your own steam room for your own privacy. At the same time as a shower and a steam room.
An old estate agent trick: lure your customer to the nicest area of the property when the price needs to be discussed.
You ready for the price? You'll be very surprised. The price is 9.9 million. 9.9 million Qatari riyal. So when you see the difference between this one and the other one, how do you feel?
For investment, I think this one is better, but for my family, that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you buy both, I'll give you a discount.
If you want to do business here, you first of all have to get used to the local customs, just like estate agent Khaled Abdel Fattah. That's the way it works in Qatar, the richest country on earth. And from here, we're traveling on to Santo Stefano di Cessiano in Italy. For 50 years, this remote village in the Italian Abruzzi was abandoned, a derelict ghost village. Now it's an exceptional hotel. Not only a single building, but half the village is part of it. The refurbishment of this former lost place cost around $10 million, and this was all possible without building any new structures. It was the aim to preserve the old buildings as much as possible. Everything was supposed to be just like in the good old days. Due to the tourists, normal residents have returned and have done their old family homes up again. The aim of the hotel owners to bring the village back to life. The guests are supposed to live door to door with the real inhabitants and get to know the old Italian traditions, for example, in a baking course. Two days before, we are on our way to Santo Stefano di Cessiano, and we want to know, what is life as a guest here like? The first port of call, as in every hotel, is reception. It's located in a former cattle shed. Hotel manager Nuncia gives us the key, probably the biggest room key in the world. We will meet Nuncia again later. Our rooms are in this converted shed. Of course, we want to see them first. The former shed is now a suite with a living room and 2 bedrooms. It costs about $500 per night, but there is no sign of luxury. In here, it feels as if we had traveled back in time. There is no television, radio or minibar, and plastic can also not be found here. Even the light switches are, like in the old days, made from porcelain. And the shower gel seems a little odd too. But our Albergo de Fuso wants to offer even more than the others. The guests have the chance to meet real Italy from the olden days. Financier and owner Daniel Kilgren has even higher goals set. He has invested almost all of his inheritance in the hotel project and was financially successful with his endeavour. At the moment, he's in Africa as an aid worker, so it's only possible to speak to him via Skype.
Credo che sia importante dimostrare che un progetto culturale possa avere un ritorno economico, perché noi viviamo, in questo caso italiani, tedeschi, inglesi, americani, giapponesi, una cultura dove l'economia e la cultura sono due cose completamente diverse. Io faccio un'economia con un mio senso, come dire, culturale imprescindibile, come dire, io faccio economia con un senso etico.
When Daniela isn't there, Nunzia is the boss, although till just a little while ago she didn't have a clue about the hotel industry. Nunzia used to be a scientist in a museum. Because she knows a lot about history and is originally from the mountains, hotel owner Daniela offered her the job as manager. Her most important task to make sure that everything is and stays as authentic as possible, just like in the old days. Even down to the scent in the rooms.
Questo prodotto è un segreto di questo albergo perché di nascosto, prima che arrivano gli ospiti, spruzziamo e profumiamo l'ambiente con questo prodotto ricercato che si chiama Caminetto. Riproduce l'odore antico della brace con le bucce di agrumi, come era una volta.
Because the people used to throw lemon peel into the fire as a natural air freshener. The spray is all natural, just like everything else here.
Come vedete, in ogni stanza c'è una cura del dettaglio molto ricercata, perché abbiamo fatto una ricerca appunto per ogni singola scelta del prodotto. Ad esempio abbiamo il sapone fatto in casa come una volta, che è fatto con cera d'api e olio d'oliva, senza schiumogeni e senza profumazioni artificiali, quindi molto in linea col progetto, cioè sia solido che liquido è lo stesso prodotto.
This explains the seemingly split shower gel. It hasn't gone off. This is just the way soaps and shampoos without any added chemicals look. On purpose, the hotel beds are just like in old times, hard and with woolen blankets that take 2 months to make.
I letti, come vedete, erano molto alti perché nei casi di persone più disagiate e più povere addirittura si mettevano gli animali sotto per riscaldarsi perché non c'erano riscaldamenti, e per salire sul letto, visto che spesso erano persone anche un po' basse, utilizzavano un piedistallo in legno come questo qui. Quindi noi abbiamo riprodotto questa usanza per cui l'ospite viene qui, sale sopra e poi si siede sul letto.
Nunzia shows us her favourite suite, as here you can see especially well how the people used to live.
Come potete vedere, qui si vede subito la scelta dei muri neri, anneriti, che è una caratteristica della Sextanzio, perché questa attenzione al patrimonio storico minore e queste tracce del vissuto che non devono essere assolutamente nascoste. E un'altra scelta di questo restauro conservativo è questa delle finestre piccole, rimaste così piccole appunto perché, essendo in montagna, queste case avevano bisogno di ripararsi dal freddo. L'unico elemento un po' che esce fuori dal contesto è la vasca da bagno, perché come vedete è una vasca di design che richiama la tinozza antica.
But the expensive designer bathtubs aren't the only luxury in the rooms, as we now notice at second glance. There are upscale fittings, minimalist designer lamps, and to the relief of our freezing team, underfloor heating everywhere, even in this old sheep stable. And we find the well-hidden switches for it as well. So not everything is as it was hundreds of years ago, otherwise the guests would probably stay away.
I turisti che di solito apprezzano di più il progetto sono, abbiamo visto, i nord europei, quindi gli inglesi, anche i tedeschi e anche un po' di italiani, anche se sono quelli che più facilmente fanno magari una critica. Comunque chi capisce il progetto di solito proprio non si aspetta delle cose diverse, magari chi invece lega a Sextanzio un'immagine di ricchezza o di lusso tra virgolette magari rimane male perché non c'è il frigobar, non c'è il televisore, però devo dire che sono casi rarissimi.
The hotel operators are especially proud that thanks to the Albergo de Fuso, many real inhabitants are returning to the village. So we set out to find them. And we end up finding this cafe. The owners want to show us how coffee was drunk in the good old days, before fully automatic coffee makers began to pop up everywhere. This brown creme is sugar whipped up with coffee. The insides of the little cups are covered with it. Then, hand-ground espresso is poured into them. And on top, extremely sweet whipped cream, not frothed-up milk. We asked the coffee shop owner Massimiliano what he thinks about the Albergo de Fuso.
Beh, sicuramente lo sviluppo turistico di questo paese. Sì, e ha portato a conoscenza anche un borgo medievale che non era conosciuto assolutamente. La possibilità anche, per esempio, a noi operatori di cominciare a pensare di poter vivere con il lavoro in un paese così piccolo.
At her wool shop, Valeria shows us how she dyes sheep's wool red with wine from the region, just the way it's been done here for hundreds of years. She too loves the hotel project, which is no surprise, as she has multiplied her turnover by 10 in the last couple of years. And she likes the tourists that come here.
Il turista che visita Sextanzio è assolutamente un turista che vuole conoscere le nostre realtà ed è disposto anche a volte a immedesimarsi nelle nostre vite.
Really experience what it means to live here. That's exactly what we want to do now. Sheep's cheese and wool used to be the most important sources of income here, and shepherd is still a very well-respected profession. Therefore, a visit to the local sheepherder Mimi and his family is part of the program at the hotel. For him, this is a good side earner.
Signore, è un mestiere è durissimo perché non ci stanno feste, non ci stanno niente. È un mestiere che ti dà piacere, non si può fare, è impossibile. Tutto, questo deve sapere tutto, signore. Questa sembra una cosa semplice, ma è più difficile quasi di fare un dottore.
Oh man!
Attenzione.
Oh!
We understand what he means while milking the sheep. The milk only begins to flow after a little udder massage from Mimi. But soon the poor sheep is fed up.
No, papà, non gli mena, lascia stare.
In the end, there is just enough to make a small sheep's cheese. For this, the shepherd's wife adds rennet to the warm milk. This is an enzyme that makes the milk curdle. After an hour of work, the cheese made from the milk we collected is ready. Right after this, it's on to the hotel baking course in an original reconstructed kitchen. Course leader Gabriella is also responsible for breakfast at the hotel. In baking courses, she shows the guests how to make the classic Italian bread focaccia. The dough only consists of flour, water, yeast, and lots of olive oil. In the olden days, the thin flatbread only used to be a test whether the oven was already hot enough for big loaves of bread. So focaccia was technically just a byproduct of this test. After about 20 minutes in the oven, it is ready. The course leader is satisfied with us, or at least that's what she says.
Che cosa dici delle nostre?
Bellissime, devo dire.
Wunderschön.
Poi per me è positivo perché diciamo qui si vive in una sorta di pace e di tranquillità e quindi non è un lavoro stressante, è un lavoro tranquillo, non si è in mezzo al traffico come magari nella città, quindi la vita scorre piacevole.
A life very different to the ones most of us lead. And a trip into the past that is really worth it. We're leaving Italy and are carrying on to Ramstein in Germany. Germany, to be precise, at the Ramstein airbase. Normally, the US military bases remain a mystery. You're only allowed to visit if you're invited. We have been granted permission to look behind the scenes. Around 17,000 soldiers and civilians work on these large premises. Chadwick Dew Williams is one of them. The corporal came to Germany for 3 years. At 5:30 a.m. in Little USA, we visit Corporal Chadwick at his home. The house and the kitchen look quite German at first glance, but breakfast looks American.
I usually eat grits in the morning for breakfast. It's a cornmeal type breakfast. It's kind of like porridge. It's a very Southern American kind of breakfast.
Breakfast is American style, and the media too, made in the USA.
There are many ways to actually learn about what's going on at home. We have American newspapers that we can read that are available to us. There's also the internet. There's AFN radio, AFN TV.
For Chadwick, this is quite important because, like many of his colleagues, he doesn't speak a word of German. He lives 2 kilometers from his workplace. Of course, he travels there in a truly American car, a pickup truck.
This is an imported truck from the USA. I don't really like driving the German cars. I like something much larger, like this, for example.
Unlike most of his colleagues, Chadwick does not live in one of the residential areas directly on the airbase.
Since I don't have a family, I can't live on base. It's people with families have preference for living on base. So since I'm single, I live off base on the economy.
Chadwick's trip to work is his only real point of contact with Germany. Entering the airbase isn't easy at all. Only authorized personnel have access. Even Chadwick is checked at the entrance every single day. And then we're finally inside. On American soil, in the true sense of the word. The kids here don't go to German schools, but obviously to an American high school.
They even have buses that run through the community as well to take the children home.
The residential area conveys a pure America feeling. There is a US flag on every house. It only gets more American in America. The airbase also offers accommodation for high-ranking visitors.
The most important visitor I've seen to come through was Barack Obama. It was really neat actually seeing the President of the United States come through.
We arrive at the airfield. Every airbase has its own specific task. Ramstein, for example, is the central hub for freight flights and the troop transport to conflict areas. Chadwick is responsible for the flight handling.
So just received the ship brief for today. We got some special cargo to be loaded.
And not just one. 3 military helicopters are to be loaded into the belly of the so-called C5 machine. Mostly mechanics, engineers and soldiers with a special logistics training are stationed here. Chadwick is a transport specialist for air traffic. After his basic training, he went to a special technical college. To make the heavy loading even more difficult, the cable winch snaps.
Something like this doesn't happen too often, so we might not get to load today. It might be a later day before we can actually load. We'll see.
Chadwick uses the extra time to show us around the airbase. He takes us shopping to a typical American mall. You can find everything in this shrine to consumerism, from huge refrigerators to dried meat snacks. Only typical American products. All products on the airbase, apart from fruit and vegetables, are imported. The soldiers are supposed to feel at home. They even have American car dealers for the right American driving pleasure. And of course, payment is made in US dollars.
I like to shop here at the KMCC because simply because the prices are a little bit cheaper here. Everything is centralized, so I can buy anything and everything I want at one place. And it's a little bit cheaper because there are no taxes.
Of course, the film crew can't shop duty-free, but at least we are allowed to eat here.
I like to come here a lot to eat lunch or maybe even dinner. It's very cheap food. The lines are very quick and short, so it's a very convenient way to eat.
Theoretically, Chadwick would never have to leave Ramstein Air Base during the whole time of his deployment. But why is it so important for the soldiers to have this America feeling?
Everybody speaks English, you have the American food, so it kind of makes you feel less homesick actually being here on base. It's almost like living in America, but in the heart of Germany.
Meanwhile, they have found a solution on the airfield.
So I received good news, they actually fixed the winch pretty fast.
The loading of the helicopters can begin. It's a question of millimeters. Normally, the soldiers are deployed at the airbase between 2 and 4 years.
So it's been a long day. I'm ready to go grab a beer.
Of course, Chadwick doesn't have to drive very far in his spare time.
Right now we're coming up on the Woodlawn Golf Course. It's a very beautiful course with 18 holes. It's kind of a nice place to get away from everything and relax.
But they can't relax all the time. Since the soldiers have to undergo fitness tests regularly, they often work out in their spare time. And there's bowling too.
How you doing, man? Pretty good. Hey, buddy. How are you? Hey. How you doing?
His friends are American too. So does Chadwick get in contact with Germans at all?
My life revolves around the American Air Base, so sometimes it's very difficult to actually meet German people. But I have realized that when I have met German people in the past, they're very nice people. So when the chance does come, it's very easy to actually make German friends.
But many Americans do sometimes entertain themselves outside of the airbase. For Chadwick, it's time to say goodbye soon.
So I'm getting ready to wrap up my tour here at Ramstein. I spent almost 3 years here, overseas in Germany, far away from home. So it's been a great 3 years. I'm looking forward to going back to America after this. But for now, I'm going to go bowl some strikes.
An interesting glance behind the scenes at the mysterious US airbase. From Germany, we make our way to Indonesia. Deep in the Indonesian jungle is something which doesn't belong there. A chicken. What is a chicken made of stone doing in the middle of the jungle? It's situated on the island of Java. The owner of the chicken told us to go to Borobudur and ask our way through from there. We learn that the chicken is supposed to be a house of prayer. After a short while, we can already see its head. An enormous chicken. We have an appointment with the man who built it, Daniel Al-Amzjar. What was his idea? Why did he shape the house in this way?
Why does this church look like a chicken?
Ini bukan chicken, it is a dove. Dove.
But it looks like a chicken.
Yeah, no, maybe mungkin tukang-tukangnya tidak ahli ya. Jadi ini hanya tukang-tukang dari desa sekeliling ini. Dia bukan profesional ya. Jadi mungkin bentuknya sedikit seperti ayam ya.
But Daniel didn't even want to build the dove. In 1989, he had a divine vision during his prayers. He was appointed with this Herculean task. Daniel had neither money nor property nor any idea of how to build a house. But miraculously, he was able to purchase this plot of jungle for only $190. All of the villagers helped carry the stones. In 1994, the dove opened its doors. The dove is a symbol of peace, unity and truth. It is 30 meters tall and almost 50 meters wide. Today, the bird looks a bit decrepit due to the humid climate and vandalism. We are curious to see the inside. And we discover nothing. No altar, no benches or any kind of furniture. Just an empty hall with a great hole in the floor.
Ini sedang direnovasi. Ketika saya tinggalkan semuanya hancur ya. Banyak yang merusak jendela-jendelanya. Jadi saya sedang memperkuat, memperbaikin lagi. Dan ketika saat ini malah banyak turis-turis datang tempat ini.
He wants to show us the prayer rooms in the cellar. People of different nationalities are invited to withdraw for meditation. In Daniel's dove, everyone is welcome to pray, no matter which religion they follow. The rooms are dark chambers with no light. Daniel used to give therapy sessions here too. Now, at the age of 68, he is busy just covering up for the expenses of his dove. We haven't seen a single soul praying, even though the place is crowded with tourists this afternoon. They ask Daniel the same question every single day.
And then the top of the building like head of a cock.
It is not chicken, it is a dove.
Oh yeah.
Dove, symbol of peace, symbol of Holy Spirit.
And this goes on and on all day long.
This church with hen.
You know, this is not chicken, this is the dove, yeah.
Oh, the dove.
The dove.
Gereja ayam.
Gereja ayam.
This is dove.
Oh.
Daniel stays calm. He doesn't have a choice.
Chicken or dove, I don't care.
As long as the tourists give donations. Donations are the only way Daniel is able to sustain the dove. We have the honor of being shown around the upper parts of the 6th-floored building. There is a lot to be done here too. Renovating is expensive.
Daniel, what are the plans for the future? Do you want to sell this?
No, saya tidak akan jual karena sudah beberapa kali saya jual, beberapa kali saya hibahkan ke gereja, kembali lagi ke saya. Saya juga punya hati takut kepada Tuhan. Saya akan urus sendiri, saya akan olah sendiri.
And so Daniel will have to go on explaining for many years to come that his famous chicken church is really a dove. From the deep jungle, we travel on to the Russian capital, Moscow. Russia's capital, 12 million inhabitants, a pulsating metropolis. What only few Muscovites know, beneath the surface their city is riddled with tunnels and secret pathways. We only dare enter Moscow's subterranean world, accompanied by our guide, Mikhail.
Это все-таки место романтики, это место истории, это место искательства с сегодняшнего дня, там, где сегодня, можно сказать, корнями урывается история нашего города.
We're meeting Mikhail, or just Misha.
Готовы к спуску в подземелье?
Я готов. Где подземелье?
Ну что же, направляемся, вот наш люк буквально перед вами. Да?
Absolutely essential for the descent are a helmet and a protective suit.
Если, скажем, что-то оборвется или, скажем, какая-нибудь жидкость откуда-нибудь выльется на нас, это в качестве подземных рек, у нас всегда специальная спецовка есть, которая, в принципе, подотталкивает.
And what if the toxic water were to hit you in the face? With an uneasy feeling in our stomachs, we follow Misha into the abyss.
Я иду первый.
The entrance is only 40 centimeters high and 30 meters long.
Возьми себе свет. Как включать ты помнишь?
On all fours, we crawl down the narrow tunnel. The 5-kilometer-long labyrinth is a deserted quarry. Mikhail has an old and ragged tunnel plan. With this, we can find our way down here, or at least that's what we hope. 20 meters under Moscow, the air is extremely humid. We can literally see our breath.
Нам куда? В ту сторону?
Здесь стараемся не шуметь, потому что резонанс звука отдает по пещере и может где-то обрушиться. Поэтому идем себя крайне тихо. Поэтому идем туда.
Misha has been independently exploring the underground city for 15 years. Already as a child, he discovered his passion for the sewage system, and today the 30-year-old is regarded as an underground expert, and the responsible Ministry of Environment works together with him.
Вот это именно с 17 века, но была освоена в 18-м полностью под каменоломней. Была разработана именно по добыче известняка, известняковой породы.
Misha's assistant has brought bread, cheese and dried sardines, a Russian speciality.
Немного есть. Чай полностью. Ну вот так. Вот, и там смотри, где у тебя. Это зубы. Видишь, очищаешь вот так.
It tastes salty and interesting. After the hearty snack, we want to cover 2 kilometers to the next exit. Misha warns us of other lurking dangers.
Здесь может быть и углекислый газ. Здесь могут быть и обрушения. Порода здесь довольно часто рушится. Много трещин над нашими головами, поэтому, в общем, много факторов опасности. Поэтому лучше здесь соблюдать технику безопасности и идти крайне аккуратно.
Opposed to many young people that come down here, Misha knows where the tunnels are relatively safe.
Выбрались! Выбрались! Все!
Why some Russians want to experience dangerous adventures under the ground remains a mystery. But it is a fact that more and more people in Moscow like to climb down into the sewage system in order to discover the hidden part of their city. Misha looks for dangers and defects in the tunnel system and reports them to the authorities. They trust him and are grateful for his help. In exchange for this, he's allowed to lead guided tours for newcomers. But of course, this is at his own risk. As a guide in the sewage system, Mikhail makes the necessary money in order to be able to survive.
Значит, сейчас мы идем в коллектор речки Пономарки.
Our walk in the tunnel under the famous Gorky Park seems pretty unspectacular at first.
Уровень поднимается и по пояс, уровень может подниматься и по грудь, и притом это бешеный бурный поток, который несет с собой мусор, грязь, может даже нести с собой и бетонные блоки, что, кстати говоря, было и не раз.
Opposed to what many would expect, no rats live in this sewage canal. There is nothing to eat here for them. But instead, there are lots of bats. At a junction in the canals, a tunnel leads to a bunker. The rooms are especially popular with junkies who hide their drugs here.
Как и многие другие объекты городские, заброшенного типа, бомбоубежище также влечет к себе и наркоманов, и людей, которым просто-напросто негде жить. Но вот что-то оставили нам, скажем так, напоминая о том, что здесь кто-то был. Натрия тиосульфат и йод, и шприц, и крахмал. Но только фантазия, думаю, какого человека может привести к тому, что сочетание этих компонентов, что может быть.
The Soviet bunker was built during the years of the Second World War and wasn't used as a bomb shelter back then.
Вот остались богатства, несметные сокровища Советского Союза.
О, что это?
Это консервные банки из-под кильки, шпротов и так далее.
Hundreds of bunkers are hidden beneath the city. Apparently, 10,000 people live underground in Moscow, but the exact number isn't even known to the authorities. The tunnel inhabitants are here illegally, and as soon as they see strangers, they either attack or flee. Many homeless here know and like Misha. Here, Andrei and Natasha have their living room.
Обязательно, конечно, в частности. Летом потому, что их меньше видно по одной причине. Бомжи у нас люди рабочие.
It is said that over 100 kilometers of accessible tunnels exist in Moscow, but even Misha can't say exactly. Many passages, for example under the Kremlin, have been blocked up.
Здесь же идет присоединение высоковольтных сетей и кабельной линии, которые выключены и не работают на сегодняшний день. Нам нужно как раз продвинуться сюда и выйти в тот тоннель.
So we'll better keep our distance. Andrei and his wife still live in the tunnels, undiscovered by the authorities. To protect the two, we're not showing the exact surroundings of their home.
Вы здесь живете?
Да. Жизнь заставила так, что в данный момент мы сейчас находимся. Приехали сюда, я работал, мне 3 месяца работал. Меня взяли, просто выкинули с работы. С общежития выкинули, где я снимал комнату. И сказали, ты нам больше не нужен.
Andrei and Natasha's passports were stolen, and so they couldn't return to their hometown of Minsk.
Не дай бог, здесь бетон, все, это сырость, все, влага. Это все на легкое дается.
The couple have been living off the megacity's waste for 2 years now.
Вот масло подсолнечное налитое. Я его сливал в данный момент с 2 бутылок. Я им сейчас готовлю кушать. Здесь у меня находятся макароны, которые в данный момент очень хорошие и с квартиры выкинули.
Где вы ходите в туалет?
Когда я хожу в туалет, отсюда тоже далеко, там очень, там плохо пройти.
Ну.
Чего вы больше всего боитесь сейчас?
Сейчас?
Этих хулиганов, когда ходим.
Секонд-хендов в данный момент и многое молодежь в данный момент просто-напросто бьют таких вот людей, которые остались на улице.
Andrei and Natasha are often sick, but in Russia, people like them are often not treated by doctors. So we leave the couple some money for essential medicines. Hopefully there will be a way out of this tragedy for the two. The next day, we continue our tour through Moscow's mysterious hidden subterranean world.
Мы тогда опускаем лодку и путешествуем уже по нищенке, именно на лодке. Так сказать, увидим все подземные секреты именно подземных коллекторов. Путешествие на лодке романтично, мне кажется.
Романтично, спасибо.
First of all, we have to overcome a water rapid in order to reach a ramp. From here, the water tunnel leads further and further underground, and it is getting more humid by the second. And they smell terrible. And are quite brittle too. For Mikhail, the walk in the sewers almost has a somewhat romantic feel. There are new instructions. Far beneath the surface of Moscow, there is no mobile reception. What if it starts raining above ground?
В любую минуту сдутся бурными потоками. Неизвестно, что там на поверхности, пойдет ли дождь или нет, поэтому действуем крайне быстро.
In the boat, we continue our journey further down the tunnel. By now, we are 40 meters beneath the surface. And really, the air keeps getting stuffier and unbearably humid. And now, how do we finally get out? This is hard on the legs, and it takes a whole hour.
Миша, спасибо большое.
Еще все впереди.
Да? Еще раз?
Конечно.
Ну давай.